This is the Super Co-op Squad video game podcast and our 2018 year-end review.
Like a 0.
I don't have
1. You do the 8.
How, okay. Or this is probably backwards.
This is our thumbnail.
Hey guys, we are back. Back in 2019 with you guys. Joshua is wearing flashy 2019 glasses. Literally,
it looks awkward, doesn't it?
They are flashing pink.
It looks like it's a 2009. Is it supposed to say 2009?
No, this is supposed to be a 1.
Oh,
it's an awkward looking one.
Okay, the negative space.
Yeah.
Okay. We are the Super Co-op Squad. We love games. Every week we sit down and talk about the latest games, news, reviews. Just generally have a good time talking about everything in the gaming industry. And normally we go through what's going on currently, give our opinions. But today we are giving finally our year-end review of 2018. A lot happened. You know, a lot of games came out, great movies, some not so great movies, some not so great games, TV shows, Netflix stuff, a lot of stuff. So we're going to go through our tops and things that stood out to us in 2018 in those 3 major categories: movies, video games, and television shows. Or if anyone has a book or an event. I read books. And one of those stood out as well. We'll be going over that stuff as well. But just giving you kind of our year in review. We'll also discuss a little bit about the consoles and kind of what their year looked like. Not necessarily rating them, but just what their entire year encompassed. What was the good, the bad, and kind of what we expected. And, setting us up for our next episode coming soon, which is going to be a look ahead at what to expect in 2019. So we'll go over games first. That's what everyone's here to see. And, we're not going to be like, most YouTube videos and force you to watch till the very end to get to the good stuff. We're going to give you some of the good right now, and then you'll enjoy the content.
Yeah. Well, first off, Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys as well. Hopefully everything went well and you're all safe. I'm sure you are if you're watching this, or if you're in the hospital bed, enjoy.
But see that firework with Krillin on it?
I did not.
That was hilarious. Someone took a picture of Krillin, put it on the firework, and lit the firework.
Pretty much did a Sid.
That's pretty cool.
Sid to Buzz Lightyear.
So games. 2018, I think, saw quite a few great games. It was a good year. There's always good games, but this was a year where there was games, I think, for every genre.
This was another 1998, 95, like when Final Fantasy VIII came out, and it was just like hit after hit.
Yeah.
It was a great year for games.
Bangers. They're bangers.
I hate that term.
I love it. I love it so much.
You're not hip, Garrett. Come on, give it the time.
Bangers. There was a ton of games. We won't go through them all. You guys have been with us. You know what games came out. But let's go through a couple of the games that really stood out to us. I'm sure some of the games in the list might cross, and some may not. But who wants to kickstart it off?
I mean, I think for me, the year started with Celeste. As an indie title coming out early on in the year, and Dragon Ball FighterZ was very early on.
Are those 2 of your games, or which one are you talking about here?
Oh, I thought we were just ramping up the list.
Like 3 games. We're going through game number 1.
We're doing my picks.
Yes.
Okay, Celeste for sure is on that list. God of War.
Wait. Let's go through Celeste.
Dang it!
You're just trying to. You only get 3 games.
I didn't know we're doing this one time. Okay, Celeste. See, I'm not ready.
Okay, how was Celeste?
Celeste was an awesome game. We talked about it recently, a little bit on that last episode with the Game of the Year awards. I find that was a game that really was challenging as a platformer, also allowing me to just kind of sit back and relax and not have to worry about this crazy gameplay mechanic. It's just platforming, jumping, hopping, a couple different double dash abilities. It kept it simple yet challenging, and music was awesome. The story, as small as the story is, it really does hit the feels in a couple different areas, and it was just a very pleasant game. And I love pixel art type of gameplay and art style, so it really stood out to me in the beginning of the year, and it's one I hope to replay very soon.
Nice. Did you play Celeste at all?
So just a bit. It just became free. So
3 days ago, yeah.
So I actually played it on my girlfriend's Xbox for a bit, and one thing that I can see already for sure, it's got great music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the tune's getting stuck in my head already. I played it for 5 minutes.
It hits you. It really jumps off from the get-go.
I'm a little disappointed. I know it's the art direction and everything, but the pixel art which you just said was one of your favorite parts of it. When I'm loading the game up and I see that splash art, when you're first loading the game in, that's the kind of art that I wish it was. I wish it was, how you would make that into a game with all this puzzling elements and everything. That's for someone more experienced than I. But I would have rather have liked that art style than the pixel art.
More like a Child of Light?
Yes.
That's as close as I can get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've enjoyed the small amount that I've played so far. I can see that's going to be challenging, and there's going to be a lot of deaths.
Yeah. How many stages would you say you've gone through?
I just did there's a prologue where you first get there, and then the one after that. That's literally it.
Yeah, I've put a little bit of time into it, much like Garrett on the back half of now because, it's free. And it wasn't a game on my list during 2018. But I'm liking it a lot. I'm not a fan of that old school art in a platformer. I don't like the way that Celeste looks visually. I don't like the way Mega Man looks, which is why Mega Man I can never get into Mega Man because if someone did a remake of Mega Man and made the game look like better, like Dead Cells or something like that, I would be in it. But I can't get down with Celeste because of that. But the gameplay is superb. I'm a big fan of those uber challenging platformers like Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy for sure. There's other ones too, but it is great gameplay. I'm in chapter 4. I'm not sure how many chapters there are.
Are you looking at me because you want to know?
Yeah, I don't mind knowing.
I believe it's 6 or 7.
Okay.
I want to say it's 7.
Yeah, I'm pretty far. And like Joshua said, this game started off 2018. Came out January 25th.
That long?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was real early.
What I loved about this game, and I imagine probably you do too as well, Joshua, is that it is extremely challenging, but it ramps you. And it teaches you little mechanics and not like necessarily like, okay, press A to do a super jump, press Y to do a shield. Not mechanics in that sense, but like ways to maneuver your character, ways to jump, ways to use just the regular jump she already has and learning how to get better at doing it. And then it brings you another challenge to increase it. So now, on chapter 4, if I go back and play chapter 1, it'll be nothing. So I like that they have that attention to detail. It's made by people who really understand platformers. So nice. Okay, Garrett, you want to go or?
Yeah, I'll go next.
All right, go ahead.
One game that I really enjoyed this year, 2018, would be Marvel's Spider-Man. From Insomniac. When that was September?
September 29th. Was it beginning of September?
I believe it was the beginning of
September. Dates. I don't know what I'm talking
about. That game was a lot of fun. It really had a way of making you feel like Spider-Man, which is really what you want in a Spider-Man game. Not so much Mary Jane. Much.
You really didn't like the Mary Jane parts, but I know that most people felt that was the worst part of the series.
It is. There is one Mary Jane like scenario that I really actually liked. But that's because Spider-Man was there. It was really cool. But, I mean, when you're playing a Spider-Man game and you're not playing Spider-Man, even if you're playing Peter Parker, it's not as fun.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I don't hear anyone say, oh, my favorite part is when I'm doing those science puzzles and DNA stuff. No.
Yeah, no one likes that stuff.
But,
what's interesting to me is that it is a great game. An amazing game. And, it's made by Sony. Or at least they're the publisher. It came out in the same year as a very strong entry into the movie side for Spider-Man. And so I wonder how much those teams maybe worked together or collaborated to really get the essence of Spider-Man down. Because I think in the movie that came out this year, as well as the game, you definitely feel the love and attention to detail to the character. And Spider-Man's had a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows, and it doesn't always translate correctly. And they did it. Sony did it twice this year.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. I feel that Marvel's Spider-Man got the attention it needed from Insomniac, much like Rocksteady does with the Arkham games, where you really they really have a way of kind of building this world and letting you know the tidbits of things that have happened, and like when you're collecting the backpack things, and you're getting this is when when I had a spider signal and Doc Ock broke it or something like that. And I'm sure that that's happened in the comics. They have all these callbacks, and it just has a way of breathing life into Spider-Man. And you're not just swinging around punching people in the head and all that, but you're Peter Parker being Spider-Man, saving the city.
Yeah.
So I really love that attention to detail.
Yeah, and it gave a lot of fan service, too, in that attention to detail, whether it be the costumes.
So many costumes.
Whether it be the social media feeds, and kind of relating to how we interact with social media today, and how Peter Parker probably would interact in a world where we had social media all over the place. So it's very intriguing, and it was a fun game, and I didn't finish it, but I did get a good amount through it, and it really does capture the essence of what it would be like to swing across a city and just jumping and platforming and just him being I love how they added the ability where he can do aerial moves, and later on you acquire more and more, and it kind of allows you to have that free flow form, and it even gives you bonuses for doing cool tricks and stuff.
Be stylish.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want with Spider-Man, right? Like, you want to do the cool air tricks and flips, very very Tony Hawk-like. I mean, they have a connection, with the same studio and everything. Insomniac, I think, made the first Tony Hawk, right?
No, Neversoft.
It was Neversoft. You're right. My mistake. Getting old. Yeah, Spider-Man was great, though. Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but we got time, so I'm going to go into this. It almost, to me, is what I wanted Red Dead Redemption 2 to be.
Yeah, I could see that.
But, okay.
Arthur Morgan swinging around the trees, taking down cougars.
Which kind?
Talking about humans?
Exactly.
Leave it up to your imagination.
So to elaborate on what I mean there is that in Red Dead Redemption 2 and in Spider-Man, you can see the attention to detail, the crafting that was put into it. But the difference is with Spider-Man, there is an edge of fun that I never really truly felt with Red Dead Redemption 2. It just never, I mean, I know they were going for hyper realism. I understand that. But even so, I didn't feel the same type of fun. And I felt that with Fallout. I felt that with other games that are also very realistic. I mean, hell, I felt that with like The Sims or Sim City or Sid Meier's Revolution, like games that are supposed to, have you in war, or like living someone's life. There's an element of still fun to it, and it was just a tad. Not that Red Dead 2 is a bad game. It's not. It's not a bad game at all. But Spider-Man had that fun factor. Just everything Spider-Man did was super, super cool.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. The fun as opposed to the seriousness. And when you have a serious, realistic game, that's more of an experience and not so much more going for the fun factor, what you were just saying.
I mean, it can still be serious, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the it factor, the wow factor, the putza, like I don't know what the term is.
The putza?
Yeah, just the thing.
Spunk.
Yeah, the thing. I don't know. But yeah,
the pizzazz.
There you go.
Well, yeah. So Spider-Man, great game for 2018.
Yeah. My first entry for one of my favorite games of 2018 that stood out to me was Dead Cells. I am not a Metroidvania fan. And I don't know if this is necessarily a Metroidvania, but it's got elements of that. Also roguelike. So I guess a merger of those two things. Even roguelikes, I'm not a fan of those really. I'm not big on that type of thing. This game was something special to me. Just the slow abilities that you gain, the power that you got, getting better and better and stronger just with your own abilities as far as fighting through the levels, learning little secrets here and there, getting access to other areas you didn't before because of the abilities you now have. It was just super fun, super streamlined. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it seems not oddly, but it's out of left field for you, but right up your alley kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's it's got that platforming aspect like Super Meat Boy. Watch out for those spikes. Watch out for those traps and everything. Get to that point without dying.
Yeah.
But it has that kind of combat and that finesse that kind of makes it, fast paced and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love this game a lot. So, and I do want to give a little bit of a comparison to how Dead Cells has a fun factor for a lot of people that the Souls series doesn't have. Because they have very close similarities where it's a roguelike type of game. You die a lot. And the purpose of dying a lot is to try to perfect your craft to get better at the game. Where Dark Souls, it punishes you over and over again, and you feel like it's kind of a grudge, and you feel like it's just, you're just mowing through, and you're just like, this is just, I hate this game. Versus Dead Cells, it challenges you in a way where now you feel like, okay, I gotta do this a little bit differently. Okay, I can do a different ability here. And because it's, has a different procedurally generated level, it does turn things on its head where it doesn't feel repetitive and it feels like something fresh every time. And adding that with a fun factor form and adding its own kind of stylistic gameplay and just being able to play it how you want to play. You can do that in a Soul series game, but Dead Cells does it where there's so much at its core and it expands on that in the RPG elements of crafting your own character and then being able to collect cells to upgrade specific abilities. And it does something that we don't really see very often. And it adds that fun factor to it. And even with New Game Plus, did you guys ever get that far?
No.
Nah.
Dang. It adds even more to that after the fact. So, it was a great game. Some people are taken aback by the art style. I still liked it a lot, and it allowed you to play at your pace.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's really huge for me with this is that most Metroidvanias, there must be a better term for that, but there's not one. But
that's the term.
Metroid, Castlevania, Ninja Gaiden, old school Ninja Gaiden, the old school 1989.
Screw that game, man. That game's so hard.
Batman game. Other games that are in the same platforming, roguelike, Metroidvania genre, there's one way to play. You play Metroid like Metroid. You play Castlevania with the whip. That's it. Like, you play the game. Even Guacamelee, like, as great as a game as Guacamelee is, there's one way you play. You beat people up. You melee the crap out of people. You combo into the air. You knock them back down. You kick them across stage. They bounce off. There's one way to play. Dead Cells isn't that way. Dead Cells gives you if you want to be a ranged fighter shooting bows and arrows and rolling backwards and dropping bombs, do it. If you want to have a giant hammer, then flip to two, dual daggers, do it. If you want to have turrets wreck people while you're just sitting back and watching, do it. Like, you can play the game almost any way that you really choose or want to. If you want to freeze people and burn them alive, go ahead. I love that. Like I said, everyone can be different. And a lot of that is because it's procedurally generated and they've made the game that way, but also because the weapon choices you have are so varied. And I mean, obviously there's going to be better ones as far as the stats, right? Like, everyone knows that. You can look online, people go, okay, well, pick this thing, and you're going to have 3 to the 1 to the power of 7, and that's going to be a better weapon.
Why you gotta give him the voice, man?
3 to the 1 to the power of the 7, that's going to give you the...
I like the other voice.
Barry White.
But I mean, most of the builds are viable to finish the game. And that's super cool. So, sweet. Joshua, what's your second game?
Second game's God of War. God of War. Oh, you want to say that?
Yeah, I'll just pause and go ahead and let you know that God of War is also on my list.
It's on the
yeah, it's on our list. So
yeah, we're going out of order here, but God of War. For me, this game did something that a game hasn't done in, well, I can't say a long time. Xenoblade did it the year before. It
made you cry.
No, it doesn't happen as often as it did growing up with games, where a game will capture me so much that I literally don't stop playing it. Where it could go 8, 10, 12 hours. Johnny, you've talked about in the past that you've had games that capture you so bad that you cramp and you just, like, after 15 hours, like, you can't live life because it has tormented you. Your body aches. You can't use the bathroom because your bowels are all out of order. Like,
I never said that. That's something he's dealing with.
All that the extent of it was just he fell asleep with the controller in his head, Joshua. I don't know why he's talking about the man has to poop in the Ziploc bag.
I didn't say any of that.
Ask for Hot Pockets from his mom.
I didn't say any of that. It's probably Tostita pizza rolls, not Hot Pockets.
Man just fell asleep.
I've done that plenty of nights, falling asleep with the controller. It's a game that I really enjoyed from beginning to end. It was fun. The story is really captivating to a sense where, as Johnny, you like to talk about this, it doesn't take Kratos from what he's known for to be just this violent rage character. They develop the character and they turn it into, a different type of gameplay style where it's not just a repetitive game from what we previously know. And just adding, other, characters, NPCs that come along. And I don't remember I always call him the head now because of Atreus. Like, what's the damn head's name?
Mimir.
Mimir, thank you. Like, adding Mimir from a storyline element to just kind of a side NPC that's always next to you, always giving you information, always kind of giving you quests that you can do too. That adds another layer that you don't get from a lot of games. And even though it had we bring it up again, a Metroidvania-like style where you can choose to go through the regular storyline or you can go off the charted path and then explore in this grand, ocean-filled world. It's just something that was really awesome to see.
God of War. It's a game, Joshua, how you were saying you can just play that game nonstop. There is no slow points in that game. It is event after event. There's no point where you're like, I really don't feel like doing this part or anything like that. There's no Mary Jane segment, to kind of compare it to. I think maybe like the only part, and mild spoilers, but there's a portion of the game where you don't have Atreus by your side or something like that. Mm. Even with that though, it's still God of War. It's still fun. Like, sure, you're now playing with one hand tied behind your back basically, but Kratos can do it. That's not going to stop Kratos. Yeah. So, as you were saying, Joshua, the Mimir factor, I loved how now that we have grown up with Kratos, Greek mythology, we're stuck in that world. Now being transported into, Norse mythology. A lot of people don't know Norse mythology. So it's great to kind of have that NPC character explain everything to you. Oh, this is where the giant fell. This is, I'm the man that knows everything kind of thing. Oh, this is why Odin's pissed off. This is another reason why Odin's pissed off. It's great to be able to learn that stuff, learn more about the world and your environment just by some dude hanging on your hip.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing I really wanted to add real quick is they tell you enough where they don't tell you everything, because as you're able to travel to different realms, there's certain realms you can't visit because the gates are broken, and those are left open either for future installments or just to kind of leave up to your imagination if you know a bit about Norse mythology. So I like how they explain so much, but they don't like expand on every single thing to leave room for you as the player and for future storytelling.
Yeah. They did you guys know how I feel. You know how I feel about exposition. Stories need to be shown, not told. That's not a Johnny thing. If for filmmakers out there who are watching, or if you know someone, ask someone, that is filmmaking 101. That is storytelling 101. You show your audience something, you don't tell them. And there are some people, it's fine.
How did Thanos get the Power Stone?
He just went over there and took it.
I don't know.
That's
maybe that will be in another movie. It actually probably is very likely.
Yeah, its own Nova movie.
And some people do like to be just kind of just watch or read exposition, but typically that ends up with movies that fail, just because if you start off that way with your storytelling, there are other storytelling miscues that you will have that just compound normally. But this game, they did exposition right, and that is a huge, that's a huge benefit. Everything you both just said about the storytelling that they had and how they left little pieces and just how impactful it was, it worked because of the way that they presented it. And that's a huge building block, that they could give you all these bits of the world in a very unique way, make you invested in it and want to listen to what was happening without going, God, can I just press start? Like,
can I punch Mimir so he just stops talking?
Can I skip this?
I did hate though, real quick, how, whenever you are on the boat, Mimir's starting a story like, well, I'm at my destination. I'm all right. I'm going to get started on my quest. I'll come back to the boat. Now, where was I? And he's like, okay, oh, that's right. He's back to that part. I heard that part already. Can we fast forward a little bit, Amir?
Well, what they do with that is great, because it gives you a semi recap, because he can tell a story, and as soon as you land, he's like, oh, I'll tell you that later.
Yeah, every single time.
He just knows when to shut up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about the gameplay, about the battles, about the fighting, but ultimately this was, I mean, one of the best well-crafted all-around games of all time, I think. I think it definitely has earned a spot all time somewhere. I'm not going to say number 1 or 2 or 5 or 7, but it's somewhere. It's in there in the discussion of top games of all time. I would be able to say, I think for me, top 10 somewhere. You know, I don't know about 1 or 2 again, but somewhere in there. This was an excellent game, and it's a staple of what to do, not only with any new franchise, but with an older one. Like this is what you do if you're looking to have success. Study this game. Study everything they did with understanding their character, understanding their world, understanding the battle system, understanding the level system.
God, I love throwing that X.
But yeah, there's so much fun just with the most simplistic things. It was great. It was great. We can go on and on. I think we've done that though.
Yeah, I think this game is not the same if Last of Us doesn't come out, because it takes a lot of that second character that follows you around, that's integrated into the story, that kind of has that semi-team combat aspect. And there's other games that did it, but taking what The Last of Us does, I think there's little signs that you see there.
You think God of War took some inspiration from Last of Us?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to respectfully disagree. I'm not taking anything away from Last of Us, but many other games have done that. They did it well, but that's I mean, Sonic and Tails did that, right? Like Sonic 2, Tails was there.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Which came first?
Yeah. I don't know, actually.
Infinite or Last of Us? I think Last of Us came first.
Then which one?
Then BioShock Infinite.
I think, I don't know.
Might have been the same year.
Just another example.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a ton of time. I wouldn't give Last of Us that credit personally, but respectfully, you're allowed to.
I mean, they're both exclusive to Sony, so I feel like there are closer ties there.
Maybe, yeah, cool. What's your next game, sir?
Okay.
I guess your last game, since God of War was both on our list, most likely.
God of War was on both of our lists. God of War, Spider-Man. There's plenty. You mentioned Guacamelee earlier. Guacamelee 2 did come out. That was a lot of fun. Played on PlayStation. It's out on Switch right now, I think.
Yeah.
That game was a lot of fun. Metroidvania, that term's going to come up. That's just the term it is.
It's the new hotness right now.
Just call it the MV.
Don't call it a comeback.
And it's so funny playing that game, and from playing the first one. The first one, you get all these abilities. And you're like, cool, I got all these abilities. I'm a chicken, I can fly. In the natural Metroidvania way, when you start the sequel, you lose all of that.
That sucks.
And you spend the game regaining all those powers plus some that you didn't have before. And I remember playing that game, and like there's a they all have names. I can't remember the name of this technique or something like that, but you can run up walls. And like me having that, like I can do anything. I can go wherever I want now. There's no stopping me. Then later on in the game, now you can jump off a wall and go horizontally until you hit something else. Like basically fly kind of thing, in one direction. The supercharge, speed, super speed in Metroid games. And it's funny because previously I'm like, I have everything. You've done it. This game's a cakewalk now. Then they give me more.
Yeah.
And just the puzzle aspects of that game are so much fun, where it's like these death room kind of things, and now navigate through using everything there's time warps, there's dimension swapping and all that to add to the puzzling. That game being from Drinkbox Studio,
it
was so fun, and I cannot wait for the third one. They haven't announced it. It's gonna happen.
It will happen, most definitely. I mean, they're doing, I mean, I don't want to say they're responsible for this kind of return to the old school.
The resurgence.
Yeah, the resurgence of this genre or mix of genres, but I think they're a large piece of it, where Guacamelee was an amazing game. It was fun. It was challenging. It was cooperative. Then they took the cooperative aspect and put it to 4 players, and I think I think 2 is it 8 players? I feel like
No, I think it's still 4.
Is it 4?
I think it's still 4.
Yeah, they've taken it and they said, we're going to give you everything. We're going to give you every piece we have in the toolbox. You're going to have access to. So it's a great series.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I haven't played either, but I've heard some people talking about it today on some other podcasts.
Me?
No. Besides you today on a different podcast. So, I think it's on Game Pass. I think the first one at least is a Super Turbo hypercharged remix version. So I'll probably pick it up soon and play.
Great opportunity.
Cool. I didn't actually have any other games to talk about that stood out to me. There were good games, but nothing that was like this makes 2018. So those are my two.
You know, I'm really glad you said that actually, because there's a game that we've all played, we all love.
Yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily have to be on the list.
Yes,
I
it
guess.
does. Yes, it does.
So I know what game we're talking about. There is one more game that we could talk about. You know, if you listen, you know what game it is. But before we get into that, actually we're looking real good on time right now. So I want to actually go into something else. So
this is very un-Johnny-like.
Yeah, well, we have time and
we never have time.
We have.
So we're always rushed.
I'm late. Oh my.
Time, Batman. Always time.
So one thing just in all of our lists, it's a little more niche titles, right? It's not necessarily the Red Deads, the Call of Duties, the Fortnites, the Battlefield V's.
Stop doing that, please. I'm going to stab you every time you do that now.
But none of those games were on our list. Why do you think that might be? Like, are we just old, or is it just not something we're getting from those games, or are we just not going to follow the trend of let's try to make money on YouTube and stream on Twitch and play the game that's popular?
That is a great question, actually. I think there's some mixtures, definitely. I think for us personally, I think we're old. We're old, guys.
Ooh,
I don't.
That hurts. I don't agree, but let's go ahead. Go break it down.
Well, had
old.
these games have been out when we were younger, I don't want to necessarily say in our prime, but when we were younger, still having sleepovers and stuff, hanging out,
LAN parties,
game nights. I honestly think Fortnite would have been our thing. We would have built a squad. We would have taken the town. We would have taken the servers. That would have been all us. But I think now with our busy lives, work, families, we don't have the time for that anymore. We can't dedicate time to play these games as a group together, to get all our scheduling together and everything like that. So I think a lot of times those kind of cooperative games and those kind of big team games we miss out on because we don't have our dedicated teaming. Sure, you can play with some random people online. Sure, you can throw some game invites to some people you've met through Xbox Live or PlayStation Network and everything like that. But it's not quite the same as having your blood brother there with you. Thick and thin kind of thing. So, it's the reason why Halo and Gears of War is on our list there. We grew up with those games back when we had the time to play those games. So I think that actually plays a bigger part than I think we realize.
Interesting. That's an interesting viewpoint. I got something to say on it, but I like it.
I'll touch up on it. So I do agree with the timeliness and us being,
preoccupied
with, adults. I don't agree with the age thing because I don't think because we're older, it means we don't enjoy the games that are out right now.
Yeah, let me clarify. When I say age, we're old, because we have not because we're over 20. We can't handle these games anymore. I'm coming from, we have our own lives now. We have work. We have families because we are older.
We're adults.
There's no. Okay, well, there are 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds with kids. And
life has progressed for us.
Thank you.
So
we're maturing.
So I actually feel a little bit differently. So I don't think that we don't follow. Okay, let me first start off with this. You're gonna get real, Johnny, here for a second.
Oh boy.
A lot of if you honestly had a conversation with a lot of the Twitch streamers and people on YouTube who are playing Fortnite religiously every day, or Call of Duty or whatever every day, they'll tell you, maybe not in front of a camera, they don't fucking like the game. They're making money. It's their job. Let's just be honest. They're entertainers. They're just like a comedian or an actor. They're doing what they love. I'm not saying they're not loving what they do, but many of them, they'd love to stream another game. And some of them, the braver ones, have talked about the fact that like they'll switch a different game and then their viewership will drop on, by 75%. They're like, well, this is how you make a living, So I don't think it's necessarily that they all love the game. They probably would want to play some Red Dead or some Fallout or whatever and play that more often than Fortnite. So let's just get that out of the way right up front.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, so it's not we're older, but it's not because of the time factor. I think it's because we've had our time with those games and they were just different games. So we've played Halo like a lot. We played Doom. To be honest with you, and this is my opinion, I think you guys might feel the same. I can only play so much team deathmatch. Like I need some variation to my gaming. And I don't even know what number Call of Duty this is. In general, I know Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is the number, but overall, how many Call of Duties have there been?
13?
No, there's more than that. There's probably like close to 20.
We've played a ton of those. Like we were playing when the first Call of Duty came out, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped a little bit later.
When it was just called Call of Duty.
Yeah. And like a great shooter will pop and we'll still play it. We played Destiny. We played Destiny 2. When Anthem comes out, I guarantee we're going to find some time to try it. See what that's like. Sea of Thieves, I tried it and then it was hot garbage. I fell off of it.
Thanks, Game Pass.
Man over both.
So I think it's more, in my opinion, I think it's more so that like those games have been the same for like 10 years. Like what has changed about Call of Duty or Battlefield really?
I would disagree. I don't think we don't play those games because we played them in the past. Like I would love for us to play Blackout, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, get a squad together, do the Battle Royale thing, I don't think it's because we've done it in the past. There's always games that have, done something new or a twist that makes it some new mechanic that makes things interesting again.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah. Respectful.
I agree with you a little bit. And, to the point where one of my points was, I believe that as we get older, as we have gotten older, our view and our taste in gaming has changed. And that, I believe, leads to why we probably don't want to play team deathmatch anymore because every shooter has a team deathmatch. Or why we don't want to play what feels like a repetitive game. Now, Garrett, you're big into Overwatch. Overwatch is a hero shooter. We've never really had that before. But if we have the next 10 years where it's all hero shooters, you might not want to play a hero shooter anymore. I think where you're coming, you want to do something that's a little bit more diverse, something that's different. And I think for me, I don't feel my taste in gaming has changed just because I've gotten older. I feel I've been able to enjoy more concrete games. I can sit down and enjoy God of War for what it truly is behind the storytelling, not just I'm playing a button mash game that has a lot of ultra violence in it.
Yeah.
Something like Celeste, where I can enjoy the platforming aspect or I can enjoy the storytelling and what the developer has kind of behind the scenes on that. Something like Ori and the Blind Forest, where you can enjoy it for its beautiful gameplay and then also for its storytelling. So there's a lot of different things, and I think for me, I've enjoyed a lot of different types of genres. Like I play more than just RPGs. I play more than just platformers. I've dug into a couple MMO. I've dug in.
Dug in this
yeah,
stuff?
I'm dunging in stuff. I played like Hearthstone. I've jumped into like the card simulation, which I wouldn't really do. I almost jumped into Magic with you guys. I kind of branched out to try different things.
Yeah, you've tried a lot.
As if I was younger, I would only stick to what I know. And
I mean, I guess the only thing for me that I always look back at is I know people are like listening to our show and like these guys have. They're not in the thick of what is currently hot, like
what's hit.
Yeah, they're not. And I'm looking back, like if we were doing this show to make money, when we would only and quick side note, that's why YouTubers or streamers, especially YouTubers, they only do one thing. If people are doing reaction videos, all they do is reaction videos. If they're doing like let's plays on certain stuff, all they do is let's plays. Like very few people who are very, 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 very popular, who get tons of views, do a wide range.
Yeah.
They go very narrow because that's how you make money. Like ESPN covers sports. CNN covers news. Like if you start trying to be too much, jack of all trades, master of none, you're not going to be good at anything. And that's why you have that. And we don't have to worry about that. We can just do what we want from a show perspective.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And one of the last thing I want to touch up on what you said about kind of not being able to kind of play together. I think when Xbox Live hit and really branching into the 360, you got to play online, you got to play with new people, but games like Gears of War, games like Halo, you were forced to play with each other because you couldn't play co-op online at first. Like Gears of War, you couldn't really enjoy that, like that 4-player co-op, or Halo for 4-player co-op. You had to be in the same place at the same time.
I see your point, but I think the reason is there's not a game that entices us. Like Diablo 4 comes out, maybe not you. I know you're not Joshua on.
Who knows?
Diablo.
I might try something different.
You might, but I guarantee you, Garrett, we would find a way to play. We would stay up a couple hours. We would figure it out.
Well, that was actually going to be my point. Back then, we found a way to get together to play those type of games. Where now we just kind of like, when you have time.
I think those games don't entice us as much.
I would argue that back then we didn't have as many responsibilities as we do now.
That's true.
Maybe not. No, I didn't either.
Yeah, that's definitely, you're definitely right there. We definitely have to pick and choose more. So cool. Just want to have the discussion. We have some time to go into it. So let's hop back into this. Okay. So, moving now into the movie side. So a lot of great movies came out in 2018. I will kickstart this one, with the movie that's not going to be on either of your lists. I know that,
it's on mine.
It's not. You have no idea what movie this is.
Quiet Place.
It didn't even release in theaters. It was straight to Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Right. Godzilla.
That wasn't this year. No, not Godzilla. It is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I was going to say
I've
Ricky
seen
Ballad.
This, and it looks like garbage.
So you haven't seen?
Well, no, not the movie. I've seen it on Netflix. Yeah. Okay.
What's the name again? The Ballad of what?
It is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This is a movie that was, I guess, published. I don't know what the movie. We're gamers, guys. I don't know what the movie stuff is. Published, developed, whatever. Made for Netflix.
It was shot.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, it only is on a Netflix exclusive film, and this is an anthology film with several short stories that are set in a Western time frame. And it is charming. It is scary. It is funny. Each of these anthologies, much like Black Mirror or much like The Twilight Zone, they don't have anything to do with one another. They're just short stories. And from what I understand, I think it's actually a real life book they took this from. But yeah, it was fantastic. It had me busting up at times, had me super sad, had me, every aspect of emotion I could have watching this, I felt.
So you experienced each of these?
Yes, including sadness, which you've made sure is not on the table. We had sadness on the table, and Garrett took her off.
Sadness doesn't belong on the podcast.
I would highly recommend checking out The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. The first little short story had me dying laughing, just busting up. It was funny. And then it goes to serious, and it goes to funny and sad. The last one is scary as all get out. Very Edgar Allan Poe-ish.
Okay. I did not know this was an anthology.
It is an anthology. It is so great, and I love those type of things.
Okay. It's on Netflix, so if I find the time,
please watch it. I encourage you all to do so. You will be, if you like Westerns, you'll love it. If you like anthologies, you'll love it. If you like both, this is directly for you. So yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Movies. There's the big one. There's the one I want to wait on. I think I'll start off with Black Panther.
Okay.
All right. I think, and I've seen the memes, like, people talking about, this is the first great black superhero movie ever to have made, and then you have Wesley Snipes, tweeting, guys, come on, I did Blade, you got
Damon Wayans,
Shaquille O'Neal, did Steel, which I guarantee a lot of people have no idea about.
Please don't say Kazam. That's not a
shit. Oh yeah, Kazam.
But Black Panther, I think, did something that a lot of superhero movies haven't done yet, and that's really take a kind of peek at this kind of African kind of culture, And to be able to do that and make a superhero movie about it and introduce Black Panther. I mean, yeah, Civil War introduced Black Panther, but really kind of get his story down, where he came from, why he has these powers, kind of thing, what Wakanda's all about, and I think it was a great story.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned just the fact that they went in depth a little bit or a lot on the African culture, or a part of the African culture. There's many different countries in Africa. Yes. We're aware of that. And Wakanda's not a real country. We also understand that.
Have you seen how someone did like a history report on Wakanda and the teacher did not know that it was fake?
That's sad. That's sad. But it's still taking a look at pieces of that culture, whether it's a real country or not. We understand that. Gary just
Wakanda forever.
The Wakanda forever thing with his arms across his chest. But I think just different cultures in general. I mean, all the movies are really centered on the U.S. Like that's it. So that is really huge.
Yeah.
And the success of Black Panther, and then, before that, Wonder Woman, and after that, Aquaman, I think it shows that representation matters.
Yes.
And it's not about like having a token black or white or Mexican or whatever.
Fill that quota.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you need to show that there are other people in the world who also want to see themselves in movies.
Preach.
There's a, so this is kind of funny. I know I'm going off topic here a little tiny bit.
We got time.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. So you're just talking about the fact that they did that, right? And how much it's important. And I just kind of like hammered it in, like representation matters. Yeah. So on Netflix, there is a show with John Leguizamo, like explained Latin history. I've not watched it at all. But like, you know how you'll scroll by and Netflix now does the annoying thing where
so annoying. Stop that.
Where
stop it.
They just make the trailer pop up and it just watches itself. You know what I mean? But anyway, he's talking about, something, and he says, if you look out into the world and you don't see yourself represented in the world, then you're invisible. Meaning, like, if you're looking around and everything around you, everything that's happening, everything that you see is not you, that means that you're not represented. That means there's nothing that means your everything, your culture, your language, your region, ethnicity, whatever it is, if you don't see that out there looking back at you, that means it's not out there. Like, so if you're a Caucasian male and you're German or whatever, and you're in the United States and you see other Caucasian males who are German wearing the same clothes as you see yourself. So you're represented in the world. Yeah. If you are a bisexual black man who, lives in San Francisco and has a job, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't see that out on television, you don't see that in books, you're invisible. You are not represented at all. And so that's why representation matters. Like, you need to be represented so you see yourself and feel good about yourself.
That's a great.
Yeah,
yes.
Johnny Mac bringing the knowledge as always.
Well, John Leguizamo.
Yeah, John Leguizamo. I just referenced him.
Gotcha.
He played the Violator in Spawn.
He was also Luigi.
Yes.
Now do we feel old?
But back to Black Panther. It also solidified for me Marvel continuing to take, C-list heroes and villains and make them matter. Like, I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. Captain America and Iron Man were B-list. The X-Men and Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four were the heavy hitters for Marvel before the movies dropped.
I keep hearing that about Fantastic Four. Was that in fact true? Was Fantastic Four big?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
because all I get is the movie flops. That's the only incoming information I'm getting from them.
Keep in mind though, when you say the movie flops, they had movies, right? Like remember, because Marvel at one point was almost bankrupt and they sold their properties to other movie franchises to stay afloat. So the ones that people chose, X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that got taken from them, right?
Yeah, damn.
Not Iron Man, not Captain America. But anyway,
not Ant-Man.
Yeah, not Ant-Man.
Hulk.
But they've taken these B-list and C-list heroes that nobody wanted to buy from them. Literally, they were buying them for pennies on the dollar, and they took Black Panther and they made it one of the biggest movies of 2018.
Yes.
Yeah,
crazy.
One of the biggest superhero movies of all time. What I really like is they gave an introduction to a character we didn't really know about without an origin story. You got a back history and you got a little bit here, a little bit there, but you didn't get, let's start all the way from the beginning. Let's figure out how he became to be. And you didn't get all of that. You pretty much fast forward. Okay, we know the events that happened in Avengers. We knew that T'Challa's dad had, died in the embassy. And now we're going to kind of give you this little stopgap of information. And then we're going to move forward from there. And I think it does it so well. And introducing, Killmonger as a villain is just the way that Michael B. Jordan kind of played that character. Just very visceral, just straight to the point. And he's got this crazy like style and he had this hair and you're like, who is this dude that thinks he's hip that he's just coming in here? And then you see he has this backstory and now all of a sudden he's linked to Wakanda. And now all of a sudden he has this anger and this rage. And who you think is the badass and T'Challa like falls and, his whole kingdom thinks he's dead. So, and just kind of that comeback story is really, really, it hit a soft spot for me. I didn't see it with my dad. My sisters did. My sister said my dad cried in the movie. My dad's not a crier. So there's certain parts that hits culturally, especially, in that movie. So it really is a movie that affected not just the culture. Just like people specifically went to go see that movie just to see what it was about, let alone the culture aspect.
I think one of the, earlier in your chat right there, you're talking about, they didn't give a backstory. Well, they did. It was in Captain America Civil War. And it's just more Marvel than Black Panther. But the fact that Marvel has such a great game plan with these films that they can incorporate the backstory of another character into a film that's not about him, so that when they have to make his film, you don't have to give the backstory. You've already done it. You've already shown who he is, how he got to power.
I think what Joshua was referring to was actually that, like in the very beginning of the movie, we talk about why there's this flower, why there's this power of the Black Panther. I think that's what you were referring to. Or were you referring to?
It was a little bit of
T'Challa?
both, but more like you don't have an origin story, like the very beginning.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, you're right. The flower thing is, you're correct. It is part of his backstory, but I mean, they didn't have to show his father die in the movie, then avenge his dad. We already saw that.
I'm actually surprised that we didn't see like young T'Challa, like, okay, boy, this is where where we see
the light touches.
Exactly. Where we kind of see where his like principles are installed into him, kind of thing.
His dad training him, or whoever's training him to be Black Panther.
I don't want to step out of line or anything, but what I am kind of believing is like when your dad saw the movie and he's not a crier and he kind of teared up or whatever. I'm not so sure that was because of like the storytelling. I think from your father's point of view, to kind of see on the big screen, what I'm kind of getting at is I think maybe your father might have thought like this is something he would never thought he'd see, like in his lifetime, kind of thing. If I'm kind of conveying my,
it was a strong Black character that showed Black people in a positive light as the heroes across the board.
Yes.
And who was the main, I mean, one of the main bad guys was a white guy. I mean, yes, Killmonger was a bad guy, but really he was like anti-hero.
He was a cool Black guy,
he was. No, but I mean, he was trying to do the right thing in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that, over the years for that generation, baby boomers and people before that, when they grew up with black exploitation films, Shaft and Dolomite,
Black Dynamite,
stupid stuff like that. Where that's all they could get for their heroes were people who had to be like soul brother, like not that it's bad, but like when you're just like cashing in a cheap dollar to do that, that sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely true.
No, you're not out of bounds there.
Cool. All right. No, Garrett, your turn.
That was his turn.
Oh, that was okay. Joshua, your turn.
You guys know I'm not the biggest movie goer. You guys see probably twice as many movies as I do. This might come as a shock, but I've seen a few movies. There was a good amount of movies that came out this year. I really liked Aquaman. Like Aquaman was up there for me out of a lot of the other movies that I saw this year.
Okay, all right.
And granted, it's the back end of 2018. Visually, it was stunning. I mean, the story, it can come and go, but action sequences were phenomenal. Did you end up seeing it? Have you seen it yet?
Yes.
Okay. Action sequences and choreography was on point. It was a fun action film. It wasn't like Suicide Squad where I felt as a DC film, Suicide Squad tried too hard to grasp the audience in its, in its humor, in its semi-sexuality with Harley Quinn. It tried too hard in trying to bring a Marvel-like story where here we got these band of anti-heroes that are coming here to save the day. Aquaman didn't try any of that. It took a character that really is not even ABC tier unless you're in the Justice League, specifically in the cartoons. And you don't really see a standalone like Aquaman show besides the 60s.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
And they took a character where they gave you a little bit of backstory. You already knew about it, as you said, from Justice League. And they really expanded on that, and you got to see this new open world in Atlantis, and it even expands beyond that. And just to kind of see where he really doesn't want to be king. Arthur just wants to do his own thing. He's doing right by the people, but on his own terms. He's not doing it for the greater good of the land. He's not doing anything and his character develops into something greater where it's not just about him, it's about his people, where he comes from, and his family. And that comes with heritage. So I think all that combined just turned into a really great overall movie. I'm really looking forward to see how they expand on that. I think Black Manta was an awesome fit in this movie, despite you mentioning, even though you haven't seen it, you're kind of iffy about having a secondary villain.
Well, I definitely don't like two villains in one film most of the time, just because you don't get the opportunity usually to give them both justice. Now, I haven't seen the film, but even if, and I believe you both, that they did justice to both, Black Manta and Ocean Master, King Orm, or Orm, I'm not sure if it's called King in this movie yet. Prince Orm in this movie. Even if they did justice to them both, if Aquaman is that great, they're gonna have a second one most likely. What the hell do you do now? It's not like he has a rogues gallery. He's got a couple characters that you can use.
Use them up.
Yeah, exactly. You use them both. Like
top two, and they're already gone.
Who else are you going to have him fight? Like,
yeah,
that's a problem for me.
I do agree with that. I don't even not even spoilers. I don't even think they set up like cliffhanger, like hand come out the grave or something like that. I don't recall.
Did you stay for an end credits?
I did stay for the end credits. More on that later.
So I haven't seen the film, but I can tell you something from watching the trailers, something I can already pick out that makes sense for why this movie is successful, whereas the other ones, I'm speaking Justice League, Batman vs Superman, and Man of Steel, were not. And that's completely with the tone that was set for the film. Both Wonder Woman and Aquaman have an air of fun that you get in the Marvel movies, right? You have fun in the Marvel movies. And, Justice League, BVS, Man of Steel, it's like dark, edgy, everything's gray toned, and even the blue on Superman is like a dark blue that it almost is black. Like that's what you get. But Aquaman was about fun, right? Wonder Woman was a new world she saw and like fighting for justice. Where is that in Superman?
I have been saying this since the trailer dropped for Shazam. This is what I think DC needs to do. Because when you go to a Marvel movie, you have fun. You're there for the storytelling, of course, but the storytelling is a good time. It's a fun ride.
Yes.
Shazam looks fun. It looks like a fun time. It's not being dark and gritty and serious and all the time. You can't have some Shazam. It's Shazam. It's fun. It's upbeat.
Yeah, and I think that's why this movie is doing well. Where you need that.
Yes.
I mean, there's a time and place for that dark, gritty tone, and you can't have it for your entire movie universe. No,
just Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, Zack Snyder? I'm so confused on him. Because he, lately, to me, his movies, they've been bad. But he did Watchmen. Watchmen was good. Watchmen was gritty.
See, but even Watchmen, there was a lot of funny bits. Like, you would laugh in Watchmen. You would laugh in The Dark Knight, in Batman Begins. You would laugh in I know that was Nolan, but I'm just saying like dark movies.
Yeah.
There was humor. I don't know if there's no humor in any of the BVS, Man of Steel, Justice League.
What's your superpower?
There's money. Like, Batman would never say that.
Oh yeah, bleeding. Something's definitely bleeding.
Yeah, that's too much. But there's no humor in them, and that's a problem.
Do you know if Zack Snyder had anything to do with Aquaman? Did he He didn't direct it. That was James
No,
Wan.
I think he had his name was in the credits in there somewhere, or
Yeah.
somewhere in the tagline. So
Okay.
I think he had a little bit, but I don't know how much.
Okay, Johnny, see that movie because I have.
Some
I
questions.
got
huh?
some. There's some plot holes that maybe I missed out on.
Interesting. You actually are looking at plot holes. That's funny. You
Without
never,
John- oh man.
you never put.
I mean,
plot
I might have
holes in
noticed
the
it
plot
too.
book.
There's some stuff, but we can't do it on here though.
No.
All right,
Another
interesting.
time.
You guys have any other movies that really stood out to you?
I mean, there's the one.
I'm assuming you are talking about. Well, my next movie
This
is
is the one I want to talk about.
I'm assuming you're talking about Infinity War.
You're going to talk about Deadpool?
No, we're not talking about either that movie. But-
Once Upon a Deadpool.
So you're going to talk about Infinity War. Go ahead and hit it up.
I mean, we've talked about it enough. It is the big film. I think the biggest thing about Infinity War is we've had all these individual Marvel films to really have a storyline that was finally needed to come to a central point. And now we have that central point, part one.
Yeah, I think. I mean, everyone talks about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We do as well. They've done a good job at crafting individual stories into one tapestry of films. But I think the big
Great way.
yeah, right.
Great way to put that together.
Thank you. The big thing, right, is people made fun of, Thanos sitting in the chair, smirking, and all the little end credit scenes, right? They hyped it. They built it. We waited year after year after year. 10 years went
10
by.
years.
And with that kind of hype, they could have dropped the ball big time. And I don't think hardly anyone can say that it wasn't a great film as far as like the stakes and Thanos himself, the way he looked, he was menacing, but not like crazy scary, but he made sense as a villain. It wasn't stupid. Like, why would he want to do this? Like,
Yeah.
everything made sense, and it was good. It was good. And that is hard to do for 10 years of hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
That was Bungie's commitment when they first talked about Tennessee. We got this game for 10 years. That's Marvel did it right.
Yeah.
That was it.
That game was supposed to be around. But yeah, the crafting and everything being put together, and those are the best kind of villains. The ones that you kind of go,
Yes.
he's got a point.
Exactly.
And for he has seen it happen on this planet that to not enough resources, too many people. Well, let's get rid of the people.
Yeah.
The
The only thing is, it's not even like a criticism. It's really not. But the only thing I wish I could have saw more, like maybe they'll do it in this film, out of the next one in Endgame, where they would have shown like maybe him living in like disgusting poverty on his planet, like showing people on his planet like just starving to death, like to see like, oh God, like
it's rough.
this
here.
is as bad as it's gonna get.
We saw
like,
baby Gamora, now we see baby Thanos.
yeah, I mean, just like to show like, because I mean, if you ever see real poverty, like if you ever go to parts of LA where, I mean, it's sad, but there's literally people camped or sleeping on the street for blocks at a time. You're like, whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa,
it can get rough.
So to seeing that, like, okay, like he lived through this, like on a whole planet, like that would have just solidified it more.
Yeah.
This is not a criticism though.
Yeah.
The other thing, and I'll eat my words here. I'll eat them. I'll take
Delicioso.
every single word and cram them down my throat. Please, no more. And just
Pancake. No, Kitty gets the milkshake. Bunny gets the pancake.
Got syrup hanging out the side of the mouth.
That's so good. I mentioned many times as we talked about the lead up to Infinity War that, well, they've got 37 characters. Like, how are they can't fit everybody. This is gonna be a train wreck. And they did it. They fit everybody in there. Everyone had a little bit. I didn't like Vision's bit. It was ridiculous.
That's another thing I was going to bring up. The only, I guess, boring parts to me in that movie is anything Vision's in.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. He was so powerless in that movie,
He didn't do
man.
anything.
He was so
He didn't do anything.
I hated it.
He clearly has powers. He damn near killed War Machine.
Yeah. They made him horrible. But other than that, everyone had a little bit. Everyone got their joke. Everyone had their little fight scene, a cool kick, a punch. Everybody had something, and that's hard to do with that many people.
Thor's a badass.
Thor is a bad.
They gave him an eye.
Yeah. So now we're leading up to the end game. And what's funny is, I wonder if anyone caught it, because we should have guessed that the movie was going to be called Avengers Endgame. because I just watched the movie on Netflix. Doctor Strange says, now we're in the end game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
How did no one catch it? Someone out there should have caught that.
I'm sure there's people out there that are like, no, it's going to be in game. It's going to be in game. But also at the same time, of all the things to have been said, I don't think any of us were looking at like, okay, it's going to be a line that's in the movie.
That's true.
He said it. He said it.
He did say it though.
We're probably thinking, Avengers, two worlds collide.
Yeah.
New age of heroes.
Destruction of Thanos.
Do we think that at the end of this movie, it was really going to come down to the original Avengers or the original team that started this whole, cinematic universe?
It's definitely going to start that way.
Plus, one more word I'll eat. Rhodey did survive. He did not get dusted, so he's in there too. He's there with them. He didn't get dusted.
Nah.
So,
Dusted.
He was an Iron Man 2. He's probably the original.
He was an Iron Man 1.
Yeah, that's true too.
No,
it wasn't. It was a different Rhodey. It was more lighter skin.
Different universe, Rhodey.
Looking forward to Endgame.
Yeah, looks pretty good. All right.
Terrence Howard just shows up.
Honestly, I do kind of wish they'd recast. I thought he was a better Rhodey.
I agree.
You can't ask for more money than the star of the show.
Than Iron Man.
All right, it's time for the movie that Garrett and I were waiting to talk about.
Have you seen this movie?
He has not.
Damn.
Have you seen it?
Go ahead and announce it.
Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse.
No, I have not seen it.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Had you been free Friday, I was going to ask if you want to go see that movie.
There was no point Saturday or Sunday that you were free?
I was working. No.
Oh, damn.
Friday was my
it's a long 24
Friday was
hours.
my day off. I had the other thing I'm not supposed to mention.
So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the animated CGI Spider-Man film that is
the greatest Spider-Man film of all time.
I agree with that 100%. It follows the story of Miles Morales, and he is an alternate universe Spider-Man, the ultimate universe if you're a follower of the comics. And he gets his powers from a different spider than Peter Parker. And in his universe, Peter Parker dies and he picks up the mantle. Pretty much it's a storyline that happens here, although he gets some help from some other spider folks who help him stop a universe ending event, as all of their universes are going to collide into nothing as the Kingpin tries to have his motive achieved.
Yeah.
It's about,
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's the general gist of what the plot is. But this was an amazing film.
Yeah. So we're not going to get into spoiler territory.
No.
This is a movie that you need to see. This is a movie you need to, what I like to call, experience.
Yeah, it definitely is an experience, and I'm happy that I did watch it in theaters. It is definitely one of those movies you need to watch. And you might be asking, well, Garrett, Johnny, how is this movie so good? It's an animated Spider-Man film. I don't think it's good because, as we talked about earlier with Sony's Spider-Man on PS4, they got Spider-Man. They understood the character. They understood his movements, how he swings, how he fights, his jokes, the way his web comes out. Every single aspect of the character they got down, and that I think is the first building block. The second thing was they got down what it's like to be a kid and have to learn how to be a hero.
Yeah.
And that's super hard too. They didn't make him have a kid voice, but be an adult, like he was a kid. And watching him develop through the movie, like he didn't get his powers and become a ass kicking spider beast. He had to figure it out.
There wasn't even like I've been taking Taekwondo for 3 weeks, so I got a little bit of moves.
Yeah.
No, the kid got nothing.
Yeah. Nothing.
Kid has everything but nothing.
Yeah. And it was a joy, just everything as far as the storyline, the character development with Miles and having to come to grips with getting his powers, and things happen and he had to make promises and figure things out because as a kid, as a person he was inside, but outside he wasn't a fighter. He's not a superhero. And I don't know if this is a spoiler, but he clearly says at one point after getting his powers, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be this. And he had to figure it out. Yeah. So what do you got to say about it?
Just, it was funny because with the first trailer we got of this, I see it and I'm like, I don't like the animation. It looks choppy. Like it looked like a video game, the frame rate was bad, or something like that. I'm like, they're doing the Gwen's got the half shaved head thing. Spider-Man looks kind of fat. Like, why are they doing this kind of thing? You know, it's so funny because when I watched the movie, all those complaints there was a reason for them.
Yeah.
Like each complaint, there was a reason why that was happening, and that I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I had a problem with it, and then you said, no, Garrett, there is no problem. There is no problem.
Yeah. There really wasn't.
There is no problem, Garrett.
Exactly.
So,
Jedi mind trick.
I also really enjoyed the vibe they set with him as a Puerto Rican African American. And what I mean,
I'm sorry, his mom was hot.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say that.
It's a very Garrett thing to say.
It's a very Garrett thing to say. What I mean by that is, like, they had his type of music or different types of music, very flavorful, that necessarily wouldn't have been in a Spider-Man Homecoming film.
Yep.
And I liked that. And it was just the right amount to show that he is different. And it's okay that he is different than Peter Parker. They embraced it. You know, they didn't make him try to be Peter Parker. He was never going to be Peter Parker, and they were okay with that. The movie got me immediately. So the first little bit when the movie starts, and he's humming that Sunflower song by Post Malone.
Oh yeah, doesn't know the words. Yeah, it just says the ending of every last word that he knows.
Because we have the speaker on at work, and that song comes on every now and again, and I'm like humming. I don't know the words. Nobody knows the words of what Post Malone is saying with his mumble rap mouth. And yeah, I mean, little things like that. You mentioned, like, at certain points they will have, as if it's a real comic book, they'll have words pop up. Like, they'll be swinging around, and it'll say thwip. Yeah, next to them as they're like with their hand, or someone will be thinking, and it'll like pop the words up for you. It was just a great film, man.
Does Miles Morales have that power?
Yeah, so that's the other thing I really loved was they made him perfectly true to himself for his powers. All of his powers he has in the comics, he has in this movie. And those are powers that Peter Parker Spider-Man does not have at all. And they're pretty big powers.
Nice. I don't think spoiler territory, but obviously we see that the spider people meet each other.
Yes.
I love how when Peter Parker first meets Miles Morales, they have the spider thing. Like, oh, you're like me.
Unfortunately, that's not true. I believe that's true with Silk and Peter Parker.
Makes sense.
Because they were bit by the same spider.
That's cool.
Yeah. Which actually, it's quick side note, it's really funny that they have like a super attraction to each other. So like they could not stop, like,
I read about that. I read about that.
Yeah.
Because pheromones or something? Or
yeah, like,
the same spider?
Yeah, they were the same spider, so like their pheromones made them attracted to each other. So they were funny. Literally like going at it like tooth and nail.
Spider rabbits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. They mixed two different arcs. So they had the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man kind of, okay, he's got to take over being Spider-Man in his universe. And then they also have the Spider-Verse mixed together. And they did a pretty good job of mashing two different comic events into one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the story is so great.
Yeah.
Because not only is it two great stories, they're two great stories meshed together and not like half-assed.
Yeah.
You know? Could go on and on about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, Johnny.
Okay. All right.
Man to man. All right. Did you tear up? Did you cry at any point in that movie?
No.
Maybe not full on cry, but like, did you get something?
No.
Okay.
I know what scene you're talking about, and it was sad.
I did.
Monster.
The last thing I have to say is that it reminded me, I don't think you're going to agree, but it reminded me very, very, very much of the Lego movie. Just like the way that they moved, like the jokes, you know, like I loved it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Check out that movie.
Great movie.
It's a good movie. Cool.
I'll go check it out.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Any other movies? I think we're done with movies. That was the best movie of 2018, I think, for sure.
Yep.
Alrighty. All right. Let's go. TV shows. What do you guys got?
Nothing.
Okay, well, I got
some. I know you got one, Garrett.
I mean, I watched the DC shows, the Arrowverse. I didn't catch any like TV shows, or I didn't watch Castlevania. I didn't watch anything TV really last year.
Did you watch the Elseworlds thing?
No, I didn't. well, the first one or this? No, that was Crisis on Earth.
Yeah.
No, that's the last part I have to watch because
Okay.
that's like up to their mid-season point. I haven't watched that,
Okay.
so I don't know about Batgirl or Owlgirl,
Yeah, neither do I.
whatever. No, it's Batwoman.
Yeah, Batwoman. Okay.
I know what you're gonna say. At least one of them. It may not be the one in your mind right now, but I know one for sure.
I'm trying to think which one you're so positive
I know.
to talk
Well,
about.
is
Netflix.
There's two.
It's animated.
There's
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
It's got an egg.
It's about a bunch of
Okay,
a bunch of heroes.
Okay, yeah. No, there's no hero. There are heroes.
I guess
they
they're
are heroes.
I guess they're considered heroes. Yeah, unlikely heroes.
unlikely heroes. Yeah. Okay, I'll start with that one. Dragon Prince.
It is also on my list.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll jump in. This
Yeah.
will be much like Spider. Joshua, have you watched the Dragon Prince?
Joshua doesn't watch Netflix.
This will be much like the Spider.
He just happened to watch that one movie with all the memes running around. He saw that one, but that's all Netflix sees.
You
That.
mean
Emoji
the
movie?
Emoji movie?
No, I was talking about Bird Box.
Oh God!
Oh, you watched Bird Box?
I did watch Bird Box.
Those idiots in the world.
Fool of a toque. Yeah, did you watch Bird Box? Okay. All right. Well,
Or at least most of it. Most of
okay.
it.
It's not. It didn't make our list. It just
It
happened
didn't
to be
make my
mentioned.
list. No.
No. I enjoyed it, but anyway. Yes, the Dragon Prince. Here we have a story of. It was based off a book. So I did not read the book, so I don't have all the full on details, and I'm sure I'll be told that that's not how it happened in the book and all that kind of stuff.
Not
But-
from Johnny. I never read the book. So
Okay.
yeah.
But we have this kind of warring factions, humans, dragon, magic people will go, fairies, dragons, all that. Dragons being like the strongest beings in the world, and humans end up killing the dragon. Before dragons are snuffed out, we find out there's an egg. Who has the egg? It's been a while.
The high wizard of the human kingdom.
Yeah, screw that guy.
So he was responsible for killing what they think is the last dragon, and all this time he has an egg which he's using for his own nefarious plots. We don't know. Our heroes, which are the two princes of the king of humans and an elf assassin, discover this egg and decide they need to return it. Actually, there's other dragons. They need to return it to the mommy dragon. Who is the last dragon.
To find out that, humans aren't as bad as you thought they were.
Yeah.
They're
And so
still pretty bad, though.
they go on a whirlwind adventure. Shrek and Donkey. they go on a whirlwind adventure trying to essentially get this egg back across a far vast land to this last mommy dragon, because this is the heir to the dragons.
This is the Dragon Prince.
Yeah, there you go. I think this was made by Aaron Hazaz,
Yes.
who had a very strong hand in the Avatar series, Last Airbender, and it definitely evokes that great animation, a little different than Avatar.
Yeah, much more CG and
Yeah.
but still enjoyable. I really liked. I cannot remember his name. Something Sadea or something. The guy that does Sokka.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because Sokka, though he doesn't have any powers or anything, he's the brain guy. He's the smart guy. He still has a voice, an opinion, and a say in things that happen. Whereas in I don't remember the characters' names, but not the prince, the adopted prince. His character is much more kind of not that brave, not that strong, not a fighter, anything like that. But still, they're polar opposites. The two characters that he's played, and so I think that's just a funny kind of. I believe the term is juxtaposition.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, you did it. You did it. Yeah, I mean it's a great series. It's fun, and it fits in that animation realm that it's hard to get into, which is not adult. It's not a Family Guy. It's not a Rick and Morty, or even King of the Hill, where it's made for adults. It's not that, but it's also not a children's show. It's not, sadly enough, She-Ra. It's not because it's just kids film.
Yeah.
It's not a Paw Patrol. It's not
Mickey Mouse Tool Friends.
Yeah,
Clubhouse.
it's not Teen Titans Go. It's above that. So it sits between the two, where both groups can watch it and enjoy themselves.
Yes.
And that's where The Last Airbender was. That's where Voltron is. And I like those kind of shows.
Nice. Favorite character?
I can't think of her name. The elf assassin.
Rayla.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's awesome. My favorite also. My pick.
And I actually don't like her because she's a badass elf assassin. I actually like her because she's got like empathy. Like she could just be murdering people left and right. Like she could, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But she thinks through things.
Yeah.
I like that. So and she makes mistakes, and I like that she's out of Mary Sue. You know, like she's really good at what she does, but she's got some problems. So yeah.
Yeah.
You had a show at all? You had no shows, huh?
No,
Okay.
None.
I'll blow through this one because Garrett has not watched it, nor have you. My next show that I thought was best of 2018 worthy is also a Netflix exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
You already. Never mind. Go ahead.
You know what it is now?
Yeah. I mean, I knew what it was. I couldn't think of the name, but you just did a little breath of it. I got it.
I believe you knew what it was. It's Hilda. Hilda is a show that features, it follows a young girl named Hilda, aptly named as the title. And she has moved from the wilderness where she has grown up, into the big city. And it's a difficult change for her because she's used to being free and having nature and all the animals and different things like that. And she now is still with the city, which also has its own mysteries, that she has to deal with. And it's really just a cute, beautiful show. And in a different way, it also sits right around that kid show, but not for kids show, but more in line with like, Adventure Time, actually more like Steven Universe, where there's magic and it's like adventure, it's an exploration, like wondrous type magic, where Steven Universe, it's you are along with Steven going along learning about all these wonderful, crazy, cool gems that he has to deal with, all this. I mean, it's not magic, but it is magic technology type stuff.
Yeah. You're learning as he's learning.
Yeah. And so same thing with Hilda, where she's experiencing the joys of nature and the magic with all these different creatures. And it's a really good show. And I thought it was kind of boring at first. I'm like, what the heck is going on? First episode's pretty not good.
As far as I got.
Yeah, first episode's not good. But as the show goes, it gets better and better. And I am really excited for season 2 because I like shows like that. This new age of creators, at least for these television shows, that are all kind of spinning out of, I can't think of all their name, but like Adventure Time with, what the heck is his name?
Something Sugar?
That's Rebecca Sugar is responsible for Steven Universe. She also worked on Adventure Time. And so everyone that spun out of Adventure Time and Steven Universe and the regular show, those guys, they're creating really good shows where it's interesting with their storytelling because the shows are not based around a plot. It's based about what they're doing. And in those things are bits of a plot that you discover as the show goes. So you can watch the show from a very childlike perspective and just enjoy the adventure of the week. But if you're really paying attention, the details of what's really going on will show itself and present itself as the show happened. And that's very Adventure Time-esque. That's very Steven Universe-esque.
What a great way to do a show.
It is really good.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing.
No, I love when there's like two, like depending on what kind of viewer you are, you can get two very different kind of stories, I guess. Well, same story, but you get two different kind of details.
Yeah.
You know, I really do actually like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you can rewatch it, and it's like you're watching a whole different show when you pay attention to those background details. That makes sense.
Nice.
So, yeah,
okay.
very cool.
Yeah, cool.
Any others you had?
Yes, I have one more. Also Netflix animated.
Ooh.
Netflix is killing it 2018, apparently.
I think I know what show this is.
You should. I've talked about it before. This would be Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
Fantastic show. It follows a woman who used to be kind of in the military, real kind of I'm trying to figure out what the term is, but like she doesn't really feel emotion kind of thing.
Like closed off.
Yeah, she's very like, give me orders, I will do them. Okay, doesn't kind of really understand that there's more to life, basically, and so you know, she ends up really admiring her general, her captain, kind of thing. and he dies, you know, and so she's like so lost in this world without him, without, you know, orders being given to her kind of thing, and she's really perplexed by the last sentence that he told her, you know, saying, which you find out later is I love you. And so now she's like, what is, you know, I don't know. She's not an android, but she's never really experienced love kind of thing. And so now she's trying to figure out what is love. To do that, she ends up becoming, I can't remember the names of them, but there's an occupation that you can get where you write letters for people. People have, you know, they want a way to express themselves and to really kind of send a message to someone that they care about. And so they go to these things called dolls. They're called dolls that kind of professionally write these letters and are able to put in emotions and all that kind of thing, able to convey what someone is telling them. And so she ends up being really good at that, which is, it's just funny because, you know, she can put emotions into a letter, but she herself does not know what emotions are, kind of thing. So she's just really good at that. There's all these different kind of stories and how life happens around her because of these letters that she's doing, because of the people that she's interacting with. It got me a few times, which I'm so happy that there are shows that can do that, you know, that can make me feel things, you know. I love that show. There's 10 episodes. There was an 11th episode, kind of special Christmas one. Has nothing to do with Christmas. So 11 episodes so far. There will be a season 2, waiting for it, and I love that show.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's interesting, actually, not necessarily for this show, although I watched about half of it, haven't watched all of it, but it was interesting, a little slow for my taste.
Yeah.
But I will try to finish it just because I'm almost there. But there's a lot of anime coming out that are dealing with this sort of thing with women, and dealing with just their situations or things they might be put through. So like the Violet Evergarden, then, I mean, it's a way different show, but Agaratsuko, it's very similar in that it's a comedy more so, but it's detailing what this girl fox, like it's an actual fox.
She's a red panda.
She's a red panda. You're right. And she has to deal with like,
very important.
She has to deal with like a very difficult work environment where her boss is just a male chauvinist, literally a male chauvinist pig. And then she has to deal with like other women in her office who treat her poorly, or women she idolizes because she thinks like she can never be them. Just a different take. And then there's Dragon Pilot. I'm not sure if you've seen that yet.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen things of it.
Yeah, definitely a good one. Dragon Pilot deals with a lot of the same kind of things where this woman just, I mean, it's interesting because she has a dragon that's like a plane, but whatever. That's besides the point.
I'll never work with it.
Yeah. She's dealing with her own workplace issues and people not valuing her, but now being forced to because only this dragon thing now is like bonded with her, kind of, sort of. Yeah. So like they have no choice but to work alongside of her, if you will. There's actually quite a few anime that are popping up that deal with a lot of the same sort of situations, and I like it. I like that there are different stories to tell from a perspective for people that never got stories. I mean, as you said with Black Panther, you know, representation matters.
Yeah. So Netflix is doing it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So nice.
Netflix is kind of doing it too much. Have you seen that show? There's I can't remember the name of the show, but it's a cartoon that's about super powered drag queens.
What?
Yeah.
This is a show?
This is a show. Everyone's getting represented,
yeah,
man.
I mean, yeah.
Everybody
needs representation.
It's a cartoon.
Okay. I don't know.
Everybody getting
there you go.
So,
everybody needs something.
Yeah, Netflix is doing it. They're listening to everybody, or at least paying attention to everybody. I guarantee you there's a show that you can find yourself represented to on Netflix.
Absolutely.
Superhero gingers, yeah.
Maybe one day. Cool. All right. Well, that is our stint on TV shows there. So we went over the best things in 2018. We're going to go into some of the things, you know, maybe not a ton, but some of the things that were just flat out disappointments or worst of, things that just were complete bombs for us, or things that we thought were going to be good and failed. failed miserably. You failed hard. What are those things?
I'll start.
All right. You've been waiting for this.
All right. So,
Fallout 76.
oh.
Ooh, wow.
The hell. It's not so much that, oh, they made a bad game. It's an oopsies, you know. Every great company makes a pooper every now and then. But
Every company shits out a product sometimes.
But there's so much controversy surrounded. There, like, it never stopped. The shit never stopped rolling down the hill. You came out with a bad game.
The septic tank broke.
You didn't give people their collector's edition that they paid for. Turns out you gave them to influencers. Your support network gets leaked.
Well, wait,
information.
Hold on, I didn't know that part about the influencers.
You didn't hear about that.
So, like,
okay, the reason why customers, people who had bought the game and pre-ordered it, the reason they didn't get the good canvas bags and got the nylon trash bags is because they gave the nylon bags, the canvas bags to, you know, people that maybe are doing reviews on Fallout 76. Maybe gave some money to Fallout 76.
Scumbags.
Yep.
Okay, what was the other thing?
Network account information got leaked. Support.
You didn't hear about that?
Yeah. The people had problems with the game. They go to customer support.
You call in.
Customer oopsies. Now Timmy knows your address and where you live and
your phone number,
credit card number.
Yeah. Wow. Whatever information you had on us, we just gave it away.
Wow.
Okay. If you guys bought the collector's edition, give us proof that you bought the collector's edition. We'll give you 500 atoms, which is their microtransaction currency, their in-game currency, which turns out will only net you like a tree and like some apples or something like that. Like 500 atoms is not shit in that game. But and I have to prove to you that I bought like.
You just give it to everybody.
Everybody should got a 500 atoms, and if you prove, you get 35,000 or something.
If you prove it, we get you your damn bag.
Yeah.
That you paid for.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that we told you would get.
Okay.
It was one thing after another.
Remember what happened to Battlefront 2? That's kind of like way in the past now.
Yeah. Was that 2018?
No,
it was
2017. It was the year before that.
Okay.
2017.
All right, damn.
I think
That
it's
would have
been
been
2 years.
We talked about it, so yeah, I think it was 2017.
Okay.
It wasn't that far behind.
Okay.
But it's far gone.
Well, we're stinker for stinker.
Yeah.
Year. Great year for games. I don't want that to overshadow. But
Great
it can also
year for
be a
games?
real crappy year.
Great year for games, bad year for Bethesda.
Yeah, there we go.
The back end, anyway. One of my worst things was also Fallout 76. He pretty much
said everything.
Yep.
Okay. You got anything else?
I mean, when you played the beta, you played the beta, and then all of a sudden your 50 gig install just magically disappeared and got deleted. They had issues before the game even launched.
Oh yeah. Also, I think that wasn't there a day one 40 gig patch. So
you had to wait to play your game.
So I mean, yeah, okay, pre-install it. You know, some people are going through. I really don't want to delete Gears of War. Really don't want to delete. You know, whatever. But I do want to play Fallout 76. Fine, okay.
But I only have
make the decision.
Only have that 500 gig Xbox One from.
All right, so you delete the game. You're ready for that countdown to end and start playing Fallout 76. And then there's a day one patch for another 40 gigs, and it's like, well, I guess 3 more games are getting deleted.
What's the point of doing a pre-install if you have to install some more?
Yeah, that sucks too.
That's almost 10% of the normal hard drive. It's a lot.
So Fallout 76 takes it from me.
All right, here's mine just real quick. I won't take up. I'll do about 45 seconds. NBA 2K19, you microtransaction bastards. I played your game for years. I buy it nearly every single year.
Never heard Johnny talk about 2K.
And
like this.
I own 2K like 15, 16, 17, 18, and now 19. Every year you have your, you know, my career points, whatever they're called, VC, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah, virtual currency.
And you know, it's been a small little issue. You're like, okay, gotta buy shoes for my characters, buy clothes, buy hairstyles,
headbands,
but it's been doable. And I don't necessarily focus on it, but it's there. I could amass it. And last year's game was annoying as all heck because it was so difficult to get enough by playing the game to purchase anything. And I thought it couldn't get any worse. And then this year's game came, and you made it one of the worst microtransactions games I've ever seen in my life. It is horrible. And I spent $60 on your game. $60. I cannot believe the amount of microtransactions you have to get, even to level your character up. Because you make a character, you play with said character, and it is extremely difficult after a certain point to make him better. And the only way to do so is to grind ridiculously. I phrase it that way because it is ridiculous. Or you can spend some money on virtual currency.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Screw you guys. Honestly, screw you. That is horrible. That is the biggest disappointment of 2019. You didn't need to do that. You're already the leading NBA game on the market. There's no one to beat but you. Why? People are literally buying NBA Live, which they know is a worse game gameplay-wise because they don't have to deal with microtransactions. Stop it!
Ooh, that is rough.
And that's an EA game.
Yeah.
NBA Live.
Damn, EA.
Yeah.
No, NBA Live is an EA
NBA.
game.
Damn!
Yeah.
And I'm not lying about people literally playing NBA Live, even though it's not a question of like, well, do we think it's better? No. 2K is by far and large the better game.
But where do you go to not deal with microtransactions? NBA Live. So that's the game
That's where
they're going to
they're
play.
playing.
That says a lot. That says a lot. People know that game is worse, and they'd rather play that.
I had to get that out. I hate you guys for that. Make better decisions next year.
That was great.
All right.
Damn.
What do you think Johnny's worst news of the year is? Never would have guessed.
Yeah, this biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
Basketball simulator.
Passionate.
Because it's ridiculous.
You're right. No, I'm not disagreeing with you, man. It's scummy.
There's Fallout 76, and then there's 2K microtransactions.
Oh,
Same
man.
pool.
All right, you got any? Oh, yours was Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't this the year that Movie Pass just went like completely to shit?
Yeah.
See, that ended up good for me though, because for $19.95 a month, AMC will hook you up.
It is literally the same plug every single
Actually,
time.
starting this year, I think it jumped up to $24.95 or something like that.
They getting you.
No, it's
It's
cool.
an extra
It's-
$5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta say it with your chest now. For
Ooh.
$24.95.
It's a little harder to
Yeah. it
do
doesn't
that,
sound
but I
good.
can't keep saying $19.95.
Yeah,
and it's
but-
not.
But you know what didn't make the worst? You know, we didn't really see an uptick in net neutrality this year, where we thought that was going to be like the worst news, because we talked about that in January of last year.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of not going to be like a
An
huge
issue.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up being not an issue
Not
at
like
all.
what we thought it was going to
Yeah.
be. Actually,
or
nothing happened.
they haven't implemented anything yet.
We had
Well, they got voted down, so net neutrality doesn't exist because they didn't win.
Oh.
We won.
That's why, and that's fine.
Yeah. we won.
Everything.
maybe I missed something.
And the kids can keep singing.
We have to keep winning.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yep. And then loot boxes.
We gotta win so much that we get tired of winning.
All right. Let's get into last little bits here. We'll recap each of the big consoles. Well, there's only 3. Microsoft's Xbox One, Sony's PlayStation 4, and Nintendo's Switch. And just kind of go through the year and how we felt. A little late there. How we felt that they did overall. And not necessarily give them a grade. We're not grading them on this, but just getting an idea of kind of what the year looked like in review for them. So I guess I'll start with the PlayStation 4, if you guys don't mind.
No?
Yep. Or I can think Xbox, whichever. I guess you guys own one Xbox, I imagine.
Well, why don't we just get it out of the way?
Let's
Xbox,
start
what they
with
have.
PlayStation.
Cool.
And
So,
we'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
PlayStation had a phenomenal year. I mean, they had great games year round. God of War, Detroit, Spider-Man. Like they've had a good amount of exclusives. And they've continued to get a little bit better with their PlayStation Plus free titles. And sadly, this is going to be the last year that we're going to get PS Vita or PS3 games with those PlayStation Plus freebies. You're only going to get PS4 games now, which kind of sucks because it doesn't seem like they're going to increase the number of games for PS4 to 4. It's just going to be 2 games as it has always been, and we're just losing the PS3 and Vita titles.
Yeah, and we lose that in the beginning of March, I think.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, they've put out some great games this year. I mean, arguably Spider-Man and God of War are probably both in contention for top 5 games of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and, the only thing that's not exclusive that was a huge game was Red Dead Redemption, which you can play on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Still a win for them.
Yeah. And they had some good indie titles that dropped that were exclusive, and then, they brought back, classics like Symphony of the Night that you could play for the first time on your PlayStation 4 with, Rondo of Blood. So I'm surprised that they still have their PlayStation Now service and a couple of, PS1 classics that you can still play to this day, where they don't really advertise it anymore, but it's still there and available if that's an option for you. So you can still do the old with the new.
I still dislike their user interface quite a bit, and they've got to do something about the amount of updates you've got for that console. Every time I turn on the PS4, there's an update, and it doesn't always work automatically. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
I have not had that issue at all.
A lot of it I see too, and it also is like, if you just go away for a week, your game has an update, or your system has an update, or there's some new change to the marketplace that needs an update.
I've not seen this. I don't know. And I've been using my PlayStation. I have to play Spider-Man.
It affects me greatly. I don't know why.
Is there a option to download while it's off or something like that?
Maybe there's something I can do to fix it, but I feel like there's not. But I'll take a second look.
Because I keep seeing, I got a notification. Oh, that installed. Oh, Twitch installed or updated or something like that.
We might have offline downloads.
Maybe.
That sounded weird.
I got
you know what I mean.
The other side of things, the more negative side for Sony is the lack of wanting to play ball with crossplay.
It was so scummy that if you accidentally or let me go ahead and
link my Fortnite account on my Xbox,
play
Minecraft
on the PlayStation. Okay, all right, that was fun. All right, let me go back to my account that I bought everything and spent money on so I can. Oh,
what do you mean it's trapped on my PlayStation?
It cannot leave. and their response was, oh, playing Fortnite on PlayStation is the best place to play it. So that's where it should be.
That's where you're gonna play.
You're welcome.
I get this image of like Fortnite as a Pokemon and like Sony as a trainer and just throws the Pokeball and tries to shake out, and
Gotcha.
You've captured Fortnite.
Would you like to give it a nickname? Money.
And then you just leave it in the Poké Center, never to come out.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah, it started bad, but I think they started to come around near the end of 2018.
See, now the thing about that though is they come around because they realize the benefit of crossplay that they have.
Not at all.
Or yeah, exactly. Or was it because of the backlash that they received?
It turns out it's not a good thing when people don't like you. So,
it's not good if people will just stop playing your console.
Not for a console maker.
Yeah.
And then we had the unfortunate news that they will not be moving forward with their Sony event
E3.
or E3.
Are you talking about PSX?
They will have neither PSX, their own convention, and they will also no longer participate in mass with E3.
At least this year.
Yeah, they are. I believe they are exiting, and they are now moving to other game shows or trade shows.
Wait, so I know that they canceled PSX for 2018. Is PSX no longer coming back? Is it dead?
I don't.
Or do we not know yet?
We don't know.
I don't see it happening this year if they're not going to have a big stage presence at E3. I don't think they're just going to not show up at one of the biggest events of the year and then still host their own in December.
It doesn't make sense in my eyes to cancel on 2018 for PSX and then bring it back another year.
Well, I believe they said it was because they had nothing new to show.
I mean, it's possible, but I think that they're just going to go away from it. Much like Nintendo has learned, like, we can just have directs and save tons of money. There are other options and avenues for us to get these press events without having to spend a ton of money on a trade show or a convention floor.
Okay.
So, but I mean, time will tell. This is my thought. But yeah, man, I think that's an unfortunate thing.
Does this count as not necessarily PlayStation 4, but so the PlayStation Classic went down in price.
That would have been my worst news of the week. Right.
That was $100 for what? Was it 25 games?
At most.
Something like that. Dropped down to $60?
$60?
$60?
Yeah. It happened in like less than 3 weeks.
Yeah,
price drop because
nobody wanted that thing.
Bad emulation, I heard, and just
you're hearing that
terrible
the
game
PC
library.
emulators are running the games better. Yeah, the library I think is what killed it, man. Like you had some great games on the PS1. Why are you pulling out
Copycat League?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Bad.
Yeah, so
shows why Nintendo's the king of the nostalgia.
I'm just hoping. Yeah, I mean. That does just go to show that you can't just go, oh, people will rebuy old games. All right, well, let's slap a box on it.
Unless it's Kingdom Hearts.
Let's put a box together, slap a PlayStation 1 logo on it.
Make sure you put that...
Make some money.
Make sure you put that long, annoying intro when you turn on the console over the game.
Wow.
Oh, man, that's nostalgic.
Only Nintendo DS's print money, not PS1 classics.
Oh, man.
Here's hoping that the PS2 Classic will be better.
Hopefully they don't make one. So, you guys talking about the Switch. Let's jump into the Switch. So they had... There we go, on time. They had a great year software-wise as well. Of course, we had Super Smash Bros. Release. Octopath Traveler came out. They had several games get ports from the Wii U. I believe Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker was one of them.
Mario Party.
Yeah, Mario Party.
Not a port, but
Super Mario Party
Mm-hmm.
released. And so they've continued doing what they did with their first year and bringing a few new pieces, a few ports, and one or two big heavy hitters this year with Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Nintendo's doing it.
They're doing it right.
Nintendo's doing it, and even indie games. The Messenger.
They've got a ton of games on the Switch.
Yeah, there's something for everybody on the Switch, and I love the portability of it. I love that you can just, be in a car. Oh, I'm stuck in a drive-thru.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play some Super Smash Brothers. This line's not going anywhere.
In and out line.
Yeah,
right. Drive-thru that you're really stuck at. It's almost 2 years in. It's almost delivered on every promise that they said it was going to at their initial their reveal, and we didn't expect it to be this successful. We didn't expect it to hit the numbers. We didn't expect the games. We didn't expect the third-party support. Like, we didn't expect anything based on how the Wii U tanked.
Yep.
And kind of that mid cycle, and now the next step is, what is 2019 going to look like for them? Because we've already had a lot of their core heavy hitters. We already have Mario. We already have Smash. We already had Zelda. We're looking at Pokemon and hopefully Metroid.
Pokemon,
maybe
Metroid,
Star Fox,
Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
I would love.
Three Houses. Yeah. We know that the Pokemon game is coming out this year, or at least the reveal could get pushed. But they have said that it's coming this year.
And core Pokemon game for Switch. Yeah.
And I would believe them because the last 2 years they've pushed nary a game back. Zelda came out on time. Mario Odyssey came out on time. Super Mario Party came out on time.
Oh, Smash Brothers
came out on time.
Mm-hmm.
All their big games have come out on time. They're doing it correctly. I don't see a reason why anything would change now. The formula that they've had since the Switch has released they've stayed true. They haven't backpedaled. They didn't change gears. They didn't go, no, actually, they didn't do any of that.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
One thing that I know you had mentioned just off camera before that you are very impressed with, they haven't showed off games until they're ready to be shown off. And like we got the Smash Brothers announcement, early summer? And then now it's here 6 months later.
Yeah, they did that with this game, and I'm happy they haven't showed anything for Pokemon, really. Speaking of, they had Pokemon, Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu released this year as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely is big. They'll have a great year next year if they continue doing what they're doing, which is having, 1 or 2 AAA franchises come out, and then a few big games around that, mixed with a bunch of indies and ports and third-party support, and they're beginning to get it. They'll never have Red Dead 2. They're never going to have Black Ops 4. They're not going to have those, but they are getting a lot of good games.
I don't think they're looking for those, though. I don't think they're looking for Red Dead to be on Switch. I don't think they're looking for Call of Duty to be on Switch. They're doing what Nintendo do, and they get what they ask for what they want, and then they do it.
Yeah, but they're very slowly getting those other games that could, I found out the other day that Tales of Vesperia Definitive is coming to Switch. That's not a game I thought would ever come to Switch. So they're slowly getting, a third party here, and you don't be surprised if we get a random Call of Duty, whatever the next Call of Duty game, we might get a dumbed down version like we did on the Wii U.
Yeah, I don't want that. Nope. I'd rather have...
Nobody wants it, but don't be surprised if it happens.
I don't think we'll get that. I think they've learned their lesson on that. If you're not getting the full game, don't give me garbage. Don't give me that's shovelware. That is shovelware. Don't give me shovelware. Give me the game or give me nothing.
Don't blame Nintendo. Blame the developer.
No, that's blaming Nintendo. They're designing the console and they can make it so that the architecture works on these third-party games. But either way, I think we're going to get more of that. But yeah, this last year was a great year for them. They kept true to their word.
Yeah, so, just give me more battery life on the next model.
Mine is pretty good, personally. Cool. Microsoft. So Microsoft, they had Forza come out this year.
They had Game Pass.
Yeah. And so there's not much to say for Microsoft as far as games go. They had their annual, I think this year was Forza Horizon 4, if I'm correct in my belief there. And other than that, they didn't have really any other first party support. But they did have Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Game Pass is doing extremely well for them. It's a good service. The only thing I wish is that the games wouldn't cycle out, or they would have more than 100. Excuse me. But I do understand that is more of a licensing issue where they're getting those good games because they're cycling through. So, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, they've given us a lackluster year. 2018 was not their best.
No, it was not. Now, I do want to, they've had not support. They've delivered on things outside of actual games. You've got your PC, mouse and keyboard support. You've got that, accessibility controller or something like that. And yes, Game Pass is, though they aren't, hammering out exclusives, you got 100 games to play for $9.99 a month.
Yeah, plus the 4 games you get for Xbox Gold.
Yes.
Yeah, which is still pretty decent month in, month out.
Yeah, I think it's by and far the best option for free games on a monthly basis.
Yeah. Yeah, so far anyway.
If you pay for
we'll see what Sony does.
Yeah.
When it's just PS4 games, maybe they'll up the ante a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft had their XO18 event, which was kind of
It was very
And, Microsoft, I think, has also made the statement that they're going to downplay their presence at E3 going forward. They announced that this year, if I'm correct.
Not that I remember. I know Sony and
Nintendo's Nintendo.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, Microsoft's already done so. They have their own event at the Microsoft Theater.
Yeah, Nokia Theater, yeah.
So They're no longer. It's Microsoft Theater now, isn't it? You can change the name on that bad boy.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it used to be Nokia Theater, and now it's Microsoft Theater.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they've taken a step back, so they've made their own choices and some changes. But they have had some big studio acquisitions.
I was just going to mention that. So hopefully that turns into something. Hopefully sooner than later. You can't just acquire all these studios and then you don't have a game till 2022.
Did they buy Obsidian?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
They acquired
The
That's,
Outer World
Outer
is
Worlds.
coming as an Xbox exclusive. I'm sorry, an Xbox owned title. I think it's still coming multi-platform because it was in development already. I think,
Interesting.
but I mean, it's Xbox owned at this point. That's huge.
They
I wonder
could.
if that means like if you're playing playing on PlayStation, like on the title card or anything, this is like produced or
Yeah.
published by Microsoft.
That'd be interesting.
They could
actually.
also make it a time exclusive like they did with, was it Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
They could do something like that where Microsoft gets it for the first 2 or 3 months and then eventually some comes to Sony platforms.
It's a possibility, but I think this was a year where they failed to present anything for us right now. But they did see that mistake and then began to future proof.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I mean, the acquisition of companies doesn't mean good games.
it doesn't mean that, but I think it's them trying, right? And over the last couple of years, we're like, what are you doing? Like, what's your effort? Show your work. You know, like you're not showing. You keep saying like, oh, this is the best place to play. Like, oh, blah blah
We're
blah.
all about the game.
They actually went backwards. Like they have one exclusive that came out and then we lost 3 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is them doing that. This is them saying, look, we're actively looking to get you guys some games. So
Okay,
that's
all right. That's something.
yeah. I don't want to say it's good news because nothing's occurred yet, but you know, the time will tell.
RAP Scalebound.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I believe that is a wrap for us on the 2018 year in review, going over our favorite games, movies, TV shows, and
Johnny and Garrett's TV shows.
Johnny Garrett's TV shows.
Shows Joshua needs to watch.
And, of course, where Xbox, PS4, and Switch left us at the end of the year for what they've done. So yeah, it was a fun year, great year, had a lot of good times, some great games came out. Had a lot of fun, and now we're looking towards 2019. Be prepared. Next episode that will be in the queue for you guys after this one will be our 2019 our 2019 look ahead. So we'll discuss what's coming up as far as, here's the glasses again, from Joshua. We'll discuss the games that are coming up, what games we're looking forward to the most, what games we don't care one lick about, and the same for movies and TV shows. So look for that in the queue after this episode, guys. And as always, before we get out of here, if you want to help us out, we'd love for you guys to support the show in a couple different ways. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button a little bit lower than us. That just helps us get a little bit more exposure, helps people find us, and shows your love for us.
It's somewhere down there.
We'll figure it out. As well as comment, guys, chat with us. You can do that in the YouTube comments. You can email us, contact@scspodcast.net. You can also reach us on Twitter @Super Co-op Squad and find us on Facebook. We'd love to chat with you. And of course, guys, if you're listening on the podcast, Stitcher, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you find us. We're also going to be on Alexa pretty soon. So yeah.
Hey Alexa, play Super Co-op Squad.
Yeah, there you go. Leave us a review, guys. That's big as well. And last but not least is probably the biggest. Tell someone about us. Your words mean more than anything. So other than that, guys, if you want to shout individually, you can find us all on Twitter. You can find me at JohnnyMac24.
You can find me at GJL3275.
You can find me at Eternal Red Gamer.
We can find you from space with those glasses.
You know, there's no peripherals here. This is being blocked. I can't see you guys. I have to keep turning.
As always, guys, I'm Johnny Mac.
What a failed design. I'm Garrett.
I'm Joshua.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Happy New
Later.
Year.